Good. All righty. So, good evening. Tonight is the meeting of the West Harford Library Board. Meeting will come to order on November 28th, 2022. My name is Eileen Daly, and I am the chair of the West Harford Library Board. This meeting is being conducted in a virtual format allowed by law. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Harford Community Television at www.whctv.org and www.youtube.com/WHCTV5 if you prefer. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing and will be available on the town's website for at least 45 days. Since we are conducting this meeting in a virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute your device when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order I see hands raised. If you are participating by audio only, or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, all speakers must make a good faith effort to state the person's name and title at the outset of each occasion that such person participates in the meeting. Third, all votes must be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. Fourth, a reminder that if any participant has a problem with connectivity, you should immediately call Janet Valensis, whose phone number you were provided earlier. Janet will let me know and we will recess the meeting while the problem is resolved. If it cannot be resolved quickly, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate via audio only. Excuse me. I will now call the roll and note the staff members who are present. Kim Cohen.
Kim Cohen, Library Board Member, present.
Gail Crockett. Okay. I see you, Gail. All right, no worries. Eileen Daly, board member, present. Natalia Menjivar.
Natalia Menjivar, Library Board Member, present.
Jill Spear.
Jill Spear, Library Board Member, present.
Okay, and also present this evening are Laura Irmscher, Library Director, and Office Operations Specialist Janet Valensis, and Library Staff Member Brett.
Right.
Oh, thank you. And in addition to that, we have a guest from the Town Council, Deb Poland. Deb, if you'd like to say a couple of words.
Sure. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And I've recently been appointed to the Town Council. I'm chairing the Human and Community Services Committee and also serve on the Finance and Administration Committee. And I am trying to get up to speed and learn as much as I can about all of the different departments in town. So wanted to just join you this evening, listen into your meeting. Thank you for serving on our library board. One of the best parts about living in West Hartford is our libraries, in my opinion. And I'm so grateful that we have such a creative, robust, comprehensive library system in town. And thankful to all of you for serving and helping to make that library system as wonderful as it is and thinking ahead to the future as well. So with that, I'm just going to sit back and watch the rest of your meeting, but I wanted to just come on and say hi and let you know if you have any questions or want to reach out to me. You can just email me or give me a call, and my contact information is on the Town Council website.
Oh, that's so nice. We're delighted to have you, and I hope you enjoy the evening with us. Okay, so we've called the meeting to order. Item number 2 is public comment, which we have none. The third is the approval of the consent agenda. Items 4, 8AI, and 8AII. I have a motion for approval. Gail?
Yep, Gail Crockett, Library Board Member, move to approve the agenda.
Thank you. May I have a second? Natalia?
Second. Yes, Natalia Menjivar.
Great, thank you very much. Item 4, we need an approval of the minutes for the October 24th, 2022 meeting. May I have a
So-
motion?
Do we have to vote on the minutes?
Yeah,
Thought we did, don't we? It says approval.
Jill, you're
we
muted.
had,
But typically, we would do a motion and then vote in favor of things. So like, the first is the motion and the second, and then the actual vote where we go through the roll.
Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I moved to
Yeah.
approve the minutes.
Okay, I see what I did.
Jill, you're still muted.
I think it's the consent agenda that you're voting.
Yeah, was it, so I made a motion for the consent and now for
I-
the minutes, so we have to do both.
No, you don't, because the minutes are in the consent agenda. So we didn't take the vote on the consent agenda. So if we just, you have a motion from Gail and a second from what, Natalia? So we,
Yeah,
yeah, so we just need the vote, Eileen, on the consent agenda.
all right. I have to apologize. This consent agenda thing gets me every time. So if we're gonna have a roll call then, is that correct? To vote? May I have a show of hands to see, all right, Natalia, Gail, Jill, and
Kim's in
That's-
favor.
and Kim, thank you. All right, so that passes. And then, so now we can just move on to the chair report, correct?
Yes.
All right, chair's report, there is not one this evening. So moving on to item 6 for old business. We have staff spotlight, Brett Freiburger, our local history librarian. Welcome.
Eileen, if it's all right, could I just do a quick introduction for Brett?
I would like that very much.
Thank you, Laura Irmscher, Library Director. You may be aware that we have had a vacancy with our local history staffing. This was, we have a local history room in our Noah Webster Library, and it's been closed for a while. We've had access to the collection, but we haven't had a staff member that's dedicated to the services for quite some time. And so over the summer, we posted a part-time position for a local history librarian, and I'm so pleased that we found one of the best that we could in Brett Freiburger. And so he has started with us since August, I think he began. And he has been getting up to speed, learning everything that we have. And I'm so pleased to share that we are now open for service. So the public can come in, use the local history collection, chat with Brett. He's available by phone and email to help people with all kinds of inquiries. And so we invited him here tonight so he could tell you a little bit more about his work. So thank you for coming, Brett. Please take it away.
Awesome. Thank you for asking me to be here, Laura. Thank you to everyone else on the board as well for letting me talk for a little bit about the local history room. Like Laura said, I started at the end of August, and there was a bit of a gap from when Aggie, who was the last local history librarian, from her retirement. So I was very excited to take the position. I am from the general central Connecticut area. I went to high school in Southington. I have a bachelor's and a master's in history from Central Connecticut State University. I lived in West Hartford for about a year after my wife and I got married. So I'm very familiar with the area in terms of local history. And before going to get a master's in library science, I worked at the Harriet Beecher Stowe House, giving tours and worked there as a collections assistant and was visitor services manager. So it's really great to be back into this kind of this area and its great history, and to be in a well-supported department is also really great too. I can't remember who it was, but when I joined the meeting, said I looked like I was in a very local history-oriented room, which I am in the office. You'll see a lot of the storage boxes behind me for some of our larger format stuff. Over here, the wooden cases are newspaper clippings, which go back to about the 1950s for local newspapers, not just the Hartford Courant, but West Hartford and other regional publications that discuss the town as well. We have a really good collection of photographs of the library, its events, and also of the town. And kind of try to wrap my head around all the photographs that we do have because we have so many, which is a great visual documentation of, not only kind of the history of these individuals that took the pictures or are in the pictures, but also of the libraries and the homes and all the other businesses that are represented in these images. We also have a lot of the town's documentation as well, annual reports, files that deal with the different schools in town and the education of West Hartford students. Those are kind of our main areas that we have in terms of town documentation, is really kind of the fiscal reporting, and then a really good representation for how education has evolved here in town. My hope, as I learn more about the collection, is to just kind of be able to raise the visibility of some of the aspects that we have here. I mean, Hartford, West Hartford, this whole region has a great, rich history to pull off of. Even when I started, I found a box of materials from this woman Inez Temple, who I had never heard about, but was very instrumental in helping save the Mark Twain House. And was a very close friend of Catherine Seymour Day, who started the Stowe House and those museums in Nook Farm as well. And it was, amazing to find this great collection of actually plays that she wrote because she wrote a lot of pageants. I've also been working a lot on kind of property histories and house histories from patrons and folks that live in town, just wanting to know more about their houses. That's what a lot of the requests that I expect to be getting are going to be around, or about individuals' homes. Some houses are more well documented than others. I actually found a box before the holiday of 35 millimeter slides that someone had taken when they lived at 225 Auburn Road. From about 1955 to about 1978, I think, is the latest slide that I've found. And that's just a really great kind of documentary history for not only the town, but also kind of design influences, because we have interior shots of the house, which is very rare to have during this period of time. And it's a great little thing for anyone that ever inhabits that house moving forward, because they will have this great little time capsule of what their home was like during the mid and late 20th century. So that part of my job I find to be very rewarding, when I can connect patrons to the history of their home or their town or their business that they work at. So hopefully I'll be able to highlight these on social media and maybe some blog posts on the local history website that you can get through the library. Get you through the library, and kind of just really let people know that we have all of these other histories that don't involve Noah Webster. You know what I mean? Great guy, did great things. West Hartford has had a lot more to contribute to not only local history but national history as well. And I did, since I was going through slides, I wanted to show, if I could. This is kind of just one of the things that I use to look at slides. So I have to look at every slide by putting it into here and then looking up at the light, which gets tiresome sometimes, but it does let me do fun things like this. I'll see how well this will work. All right, so that's the house at 225 Auburn Road. So this is from the Christmas of 1978. So you can see their Christmas tree, and they got their cards hanging by the stairs. But whoever lives at 225 Auburn now can come and see this exact thing at the library, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. My hope is to get a lot of these digitized and put online as well, so that if folks are unable, or God forbid, we run into another situation like we had with COVID, people will still be able to access all this great documentation from home or wherever they might be. And then this is one of the fun things I found, is you don't get a lot of candid shots from this period of time, but this is a great slide because it's just one of the kids with the cats, just climbing on a chair outside. Seems kind of innocuous, but from a historic perspective, when you're looking at just nothing but buildings for a lot of slides, and you find one of cats. As a librarian, that's really awesome. And as a cat lover, it's cool too. So that's pretty much kind of it for my little spiel. Does anyone have any questions about me, my work, or what I do here? Gail?
Yeah, thank you, Brett. Good to have you this evening. I'm sorry, these collection of photographs and slides that you're putting together, what year do they go back to?
So the oldest photograph that I've been able to find that we have here in the collection dates from probably about the 1860s. So it's what's called an ambrotype, which is a type of photograph from that period of time. Very popular. Most photographs that you see from the 1860s are ambrotypes, and they go all the way up until digital images as well. We have a large collection of digital images from library staff and citizens that will have to be put in order as well.
Particularly the ones that go back way back, do you have pictures of people in them? Specifically Black people?
Not that I have found. I am new, and I would like to think that there might be some photographic representation in the past. I don't know about the 1800s. Most of the photographs I've come across in the collection from the late 19th century and early 20th century are streets and roads, structure-based kind of photography. There's not a lot of candid person photography that I've come across until we get into more modern film formats that you could get developed at the 24-hour photo development place when those existed. But I haven't come across anything yet that shows Black or African American citizens here in Hartford during that period of time.
In full disclosure, I'm asking because do you know Tracy Wilson?
I do. I'm actually kind of working with her right now on the walking tour that her and the Mayor's Youth Council are working on currently.
Okay.
So that's
because she's identified homes in West Hartford where there were slaves who actually lived on the properties. And so when you said you had picture, I was like, well, did they have any people in them? Because I've not yet heard that they've run across or anyone has run across documentation that visibly shows we were here and part of the economy.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find anything too specific. I mean, I think the best documented story from that period of time is Lemuel Haynes, for someone that was born, well, I guess of what some folks were calling mixed race at the time. He's kind of the most documented source that we have, but I've been trying to look for other aspects that will kind of flesh out that narrative here in town.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Awesome. Oh, yes, Jill.
Library board member Jill Spear. I was just wondering, Brett, when Aggie was there was an initiative to, and I can't remember if it's part of the open library or whatever, but I remember we came to the Kilfolk or to the Library Foundation to look for some money to scan websites. Since we're losing historical information, since a lot of even governmental stuff sometimes is only published on a website and then there's no record of it once people update their websites. Yeah. And so that was an initiative that the local history room was doing. And I wonder if we're still participating in that, or is that just an ongoing scanning of those sites?
So it is an ongoing thing. What you're referring to is a program called Community Webs.
Okay. Yep.
And we are still actively a part of that. Actually, we have been working the last few months to secure an additional amount of funding for digitization and training purposes from that group. The websites that Aggie had originally programmed into Community Webs, what are called seeds. The original seeds that she planted are still going. So a lot of the COVID-19 websites, the main town websites, and the main library websites are still actively being captured. on a, depending on the website, it's either once a month or twice a month that the website is captured. And it's saved for us in perpetuity through Community Webs. I spoke with Aggie. I had an opportunity to talk with her about moving that forward, and it was nice to get her next steps because she wants to start involving some businesses and really kind of some of the local nonprofit organizations to help kind of get that documentation into the Community Webs as well to be kind of harvested periodically.
Yeah, it's a great resource. What I'm wondering is, so I'm glad to see that it's still, we primed the pump and it's going still. What would be interesting is a lot of the reference stuff we've done over the last, what, or 20 years, it's the public doesn't really necessarily know these what they perceive as non-standard stuff because technology's changing stuff. It might be great to get a human interest story, and even WeHar something, because even just local historians might not know that there's factual information being captured that they could use for research. Just a thought, we might want to publicize it a little bit.
Yeah, my hope is to get the Community Webs program more organized and on a more defined path. The gap in position kind of left it open there for a little bit, but I do want to try and capture as much of that kind of digital environment as we can, because you're right, a lot of things aren't being published in paper format anymore.
What I'm thinking is that while you move it forward and capture more information, the general public, even high school students, local college students, professors, may not even know that we're capturing that and that that's a resource in the community. What is it called? It's under Open Library. It's one of their projects, right? Community Web. Or
it's with the Internet Archive.
The Internet Archive. That's it. Which is part of I think Open Library is another one of their things. I can never remember their names. So what I'm thinking is there might be you might put out some press about it, just so that, hey, by the way, did you know these things are being captured? They're not being, history isn't being lost. And hey, you students, you researchers, or just you people casually interested, could go there and look. So it's just something to think about, perhaps when you work on the strategic plan, but even more so as you move forward with your capturing more. It'd be nice to have that story put out to the community. Maybe all you librarians know that it's there, but I don't know if we have any even stats of how often our portion of that captured information gets accessed, and that would be great to have.
Yeah, I can run those types of reports. My hope is to kind of work with, my supervisor, Andrew, and then work with Laura and the publicity team to start figuring out a more regular social media plan for the local history department to kind of highlight things that we have on a more regular basis, as opposed to just trying to kind of make things more one-off. That is something that I want to do, is kind of raise the visibility of all the things that we're doing here.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, you can check the website for our hours, but if you're at the library and the local history room light is on, it means I'm here. So you're more than welcome to drop on in and chat, and I'll show you some of the cool stuff that we have.
Well done, Brett. You really opened our eyes to what's available from so long ago to the present. So good to have you here. So the second item concerns the new community center and library project, and that's for Jill Spear and Laura Irmscher's discussion.
Laura Irmscher, Library Director. I unfortunately wasn't able to make the last Community Advisory Committee meeting. So Jill, I wasn't sure if you wanted to provide any updates on that. Just a general project update is that the architects are working to finalize their feasibility study. So the all of the community process and meetings and input, they're wrapping up. They're putting together all the documentation, everything that they've done for the past several months into a final report. And they're going to be presenting it to Town Council in January. But Jill, I'm not sure if there's anything from that last meeting that you wanted to share.
No, not really. That's it. They've had some of those open forums, and so they kind of got the feedback, and they've had one the same week as we met, which was late October too. So that was great. You know, they're always there to answer questions and that sort of thing. So they're putting it together. And I don't have the, I'm sorry, I apologize, Laura. There is a date when they're actually tentatively going to town council, but they have to get on the agenda. So I can't I'd have to open up my notes to see when it was. Plus that doesn't necessarily mean that's the date they got.
Right, I'm not sure when. I had heard early January, but I don't know when the date is finalized, so I can share it with the board when I find that out.
Oh, great, thank you. Yeah, so that's it. The committee's work is done at this point. I think the only other thing to mention is just to remind people, and I know you've been really good about doing that, Laura, that this is just a feasibility study. So it gives the town council, look, this is what's going to work on that. Really, it's down to this is what the general community wants to see. This is what works with that site physically. There's access roads and the park and water and whatever, all that sort of thing, and then the existing structures. What about them? How feasible it is to reuse or not reuse. How do they meet their needs? Whatever. So my understanding that's really to remind people that's the scope. It's just like we've got this land. It's got some structures on it. Here we have a set of needs from the community, and how do they fit together? Where do we see the gaps, and how do we go forward? And what's, chocolate, strawberry, vanilla price tags with what you could get? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's right. This is to show what is possible, what it would look like if you put all these things together in a building, and to give you kind of visualization of what is it like to have a library on the second floor, or what is it like to have a senior center next to a preschool, or whatever the combinations are. And then the next phase would be the actual design of the building. And that's where you figure out, what does the building look like? Where is everything? What do the walls are? Where's the furniture? Like all of that comes in the design process. So this is just the feasibility is the concept of what it could be.
And sorry to add on to that is library board member Joel Spears, that also there would be an RFP going out for the architecture firm, for an architecture firm. So this group was hired just to do the feasibility study. So then there's an RFP, or I don't know if the town does an RFI first, or one of those will go out. And I think
yes, that's right. So then the next architect will be determined.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was first quarter or second quarter. Obviously they have to go to the town council first. And that's it. We're done with our piece for the moment.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So we have a small item concerning library board dates for the upcoming month of next month of December. Originally, we all thought we'd like to get together the day after Christmas, but that's really not a good plan. So we have two options. We can reschedule perhaps to the week before on the 19th, or we could forego the meeting of December and begin anew in 2023. And I'm open to any decisions you'd like to make. Any thoughts, Laura?
Laura Irmscher, Library Director. I just wanted to share that I don't anticipate having anything that the board needs to vote on in December. We're getting information, we're putting together the budget, but we wouldn't have anything until January for that. So just as far as like voting items, I don't expect anything needed in December.
Okay, that sounds good. I know that Jill I know we spoke about one item that we could have a small meeting about, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a board meeting, or does it?
Yes, it does. So
okay, sorry. All right then.
But you can always have a board meeting with advance notice. It could be, depends on the week, but it's like 2 or 3 days in, how many days in advance you post it. So Laura's annual review is coming up. She'll have completed the first year at the end of January. And it's a question of whether, if we did that, we could hold a quick, our own meeting. All we would do is we'd have to still post it, normal rules. We have to post the meeting, but we post it, then we have the meeting. Basically, the agenda would be go into executive session because it would be an HR function. So if we decide to do that, we can cancel this meeting. Clearly, it's
Okay.
not a work day. And also, just so you know, Janet and Laura don't have to be at a board meeting. Especially if you're going, the only thing that, well, that's not quite true. If we're in a web format, we need to be able to kick off a meeting. So of course we need Janet to kick it off. But if we go into executive session, we just need it. If we want to do that, we would have to work with Laura to get Janet, right? Get some time on the calendar to set that up. So that's the only thing if we have any other year thing. So we could cancel this meeting and then decide, via email if we need to have one, and then do the normal town rule posting, to give ourselves some time. So we could either chat about it now and get something on. I guess there are two options. Sorry, I'm blinking. Sorry, two options. We just pick a date out of the hat for us tonight, and then the calendar gets updated, which makes life easier. Not easy. Or we just cancel tonight and then post a meeting when we're ready. Those are our two options. Pick a date now or pick a date ad hoc.
Okay. Thoughts on either side? Or do people want something definite or just want to wait? So I'll pick a date if you want me to. Okay. Does it have to be on a Monday, the date?
Nope.
Okay.
It could be the weekend. Literally, it can be anytime.
Oh, I had no idea. All right, ladies.
Eileen, were you saying it's an option to, Natalia Menjivar, library board member, were you saying it's an option to jump over December's meeting and just take care of that business in January? Is that an option?
You can do that in January. You'll want to have the discussion, well before the January meeting. And I'll just remind you of one small thing.
Yeah.
Library board members are term limited. My term ends December.
So
Bye, Joe.
we need to get a little bit of input from Jill.
You can get my input. I'm also willing to do the administrative work like I did before, but I literally cannot do it in January, especially it's an HR thing, because I will not be a library board member. So I could do the work in December, how we select the stuff and then put it all together and that sort of thing. And then you could discuss it in January. I just won't participate in January. And that's, that's really your call. You can delay this decision and just chat about it, or you can just, like I says, pick a date tonight.
I was going to pick the 28th because it's after Christmas. People can relax a little bit. If that's no good for anyone, please let or if you want to postpone picking a date until we're closer to how everybody's been through the month, let me know.
Natalia Menjivar, library board member. I personally won't be in town on the 28th. Just wanted to put that out there. Doesn't mean you have to change the date for me, but I know it can get kind of tough with like end of year travel and holiday plans.
I forgot it's Christmas vacation week that week. What am I doing? Sorry for that.
It's tough to find a mutual date that might be different then.
I'm also going to be unavailable the week of Christmas.
All right, Kim. All right. Well, we're back to that's.
How about this, Eileen?
How the 19th.
Eileen,
go ahead.
Library board member Jill's here. How about if we do our homework like we did before, our independent little homework? I can send out the format, just remind people work on, DIY it yourself like we did before, and then you could put it, then it's most of the work is done. You're just having the conversation in January. How does that sound?
Right. That's very appealing. Everyone, Gail, where'd you go? So, Gail, your thoughts? Do you agree? Mute, unmute. Okay, thumbs. Thumbs are good. I got that from Talia. Kim, how do you feel about that?
I'm sorry. How do I feel about what?
we can do the homework. Jill would send out the form for Laura's evaluation. We would do it yourself response on the form, and we could discuss it quickly at the January board meeting.
That's fine for me.
All right. I think that we've got a consensus here. And so we will cancel the December 2022 meeting. Do I need to make a vote on that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, may I have a motion to cancel the December 26th meeting, December 26th, 2022 meeting? Jill.
Library Board Member Jill Spear, I make a motion that we cancel the December 26, 2022 meeting.
Who would like to second?
Second.
Yeah, Natalia. Oops, sorry. I saw
Our
Natalia
library
first.
board member second the decision to forego the December.
Thank you very
meeting.
much. Okay, so that's a good plan, and then we'll.
Eileen, you have to take a vote, either
roll
by
call.
consensus, a roll call,
Okay,
consensus.
yes. All right, I will start. Gail? May I see your hand?
Yep. Can you hear me? I approve.
I can, okay. And then Natalia,
Natalia Menjivar, library board member, approve.
Kim,
Kim Cohen, library board member, approve.
and Joe?
Jill Spear, Library Board Member, approve.
Okay, very well. Thank you for the reminder. All right, so that's a good plan. And then the second item in front of me concerns the 2023 schedule of board meetings. And I think I'm supposed to read them out loud. Is that correct? Anyone? All right, I
This
will.
was in the, sorry, Eileen, if I could.
Yes.
This was in the agenda packet. All the dates were in there and it was sent out to you. So I think you can discuss and call for a motion to approve dates because
Okay.
all the dates were publicly available.
Okay, very good. Let's do that. So the library board generally meets the fourth Monday of the month unless otherwise indicated, and they can be held virtually or in the library boardroom. So kicking off the year is Monday, January 23rd at 6:30. Monday, February 27th, 6:30. Monday, March 27th at 6:30. Monday, April 24th at 6:30 as well. May's is 22nd is the date of the meeting for May at 6:30. Monday, June 26th is at 6:30. Moving into the summer, the July meeting is on July 24th and it's optional at 6:30. And the August 21st meeting is optional as well. To the fall, we have a little bit earlier meeting in September on the 18th at 6:30 due to the Yom Kippur holiday. Monday, we'll be meeting at Monday, October 23rd, we'll be meeting at 6:30. Moving into November 27th is the date to kick off, and that's at 6:30. And lastly, in December 2023, it's the 18th for the meeting, early due to the Christmas holiday. So does anyone have any concerns or thoughts on any of the dates and times? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the dates as they stand?
So move.
Gail, thank you. May I have a second? Natalia, thank you. All right. All right, so now we know where we'll be on those Mondays.
You want to take a vote on that, Eileen?
A vote as soon as I shut my mouth. May I see your hands of approval? Natalia, Gail, Jill, and Kim, are you there?
I approve.
Thank you so much. Okay. So moving on to our next item. We have new business concerning a policy review about the piano policy with Laura.
Laura Irmscher, Library Director. This is a quick one. You'll probably remember from the last meeting I mentioned that we're going to start going through the policies to make sure that everything is up to date. And I just picked this one because it was the oldest and the quickest. And I'm not proposing any action now, but when we get to the meeting room policy, I think this just needs to be added into it. We can add this content. I don't see a need to have a standalone policy that just basically states that we have a piano available for use. So I'm just noting it now. I think we can leave it as is. And then when we get to the meeting room policy, I'll propose that we add in the content there and have it consolidated. So that's all I had for this one. Just keeping you updated on our review process for the policies.
Thank you very much.
I think Jill has a question though.
But yes, of course.
Hi, Library Board Member Jill Spear. So Laura, so this has been an official review, even though we're going to re-review it when we get to the meeting room policy. So my recommendation is, since policies are owned by the library board, that, and if you notice, it says right at the bottom, approved by or reviewed by. So if you're going to do it, right, so like we just did, I would suggest that we take the vote, approve that it stands, and it just says it's, you know, if you look at some of the other policies that reviewed on, what is today, November 28th, 2022, review and approve, you know, however the bottom. I think we need to do that if you want, you know, it's more than just informational you're giving us. The fact that we're going to re-review it whenever you get to the other one, it's fine, but we got our work done here.
Okay. Yep, we can add that.
Laura,
I don't know, Laura Irmscher, Library Director, we're not making any changes in the policy stance, so I don't know if there's any action the board needs to take. I think it would be at the point of making a change, and it's not a terribly old date. Like, the policy is in effect until you vote to do something different for it. So I think it's fine leaving it as it stands, and then when we want to make the change, the board can vote on either ending this policy, consolidating it with another policy, or whatever action that you want to take at the time.
Library Board Member Jill Spirit. Then how do we show the audit trail that we actually reviewed it, that reviewed and no action was? So we did do the board, not from your point of view, that there's the policy. So from the board, we would have an audit. We should have an audit trail that says it was re-reviewed or whatever, reviewed and continued approval or something like that. So we're not. I don't know that we need to, but we need to show that we looked at it tonight. We're like, yeah, it's still good. Yeah. We did our job, you know, as a member of one of the town's boards and commission, we're charged with looking at policies, right? Or you know, we own the policies. So we need to show that, yeah, in 2022, like, you know, 2008 wasn't the last time this thing was looked at. It was looked at and probably was looked at previously, but there needs to be something written on here that we looked at it and did our job. So whether we need to take a vote on it, I think I think we do. We need to say, yeah, we still approve this. You know, there's no, maybe we don't need to say there's no revisions, but that we have considered it. It's good. It's a good policy for the moment. So it's fine.
We can just say the policy still stands, and then put the date next to it.
Yeah. So there was two questions. Do we need to take a vote? I'm not so sure, but at the very least, we need to show that we reviewed it on the, you know, reviewed as of on the document.
Yeah, it could be a line item in the minutes that we reviewed the piano policy.
And on the policy
and
itself.
Also on, yep, I was getting there, and on the policy itself.
Yep.
No, that's okay. And that way, it doesn't need a vote. It's just that we talked about it and that we're aware that it's going to be reviewed later, but it's just still standing as it is.
Yeah, but Laura, here's my one last thought to the board is that even if we didn't think this policy was going to be changed later and incorporated it with the other one, we're taking an action tonight saying, we looked at this, it's good. So that's my thought.
I think if it was going to stand as this is a fine policy, then you could reaffirm it and take a vote on the date. But because this is something that I'm kind of recommending is not needed as a policy, it just is a statement that can be added to another policy. That's my hesitation in you voting, saying,
no, I know.
Go ahead with this. I feel like there's more work that needs to be done.
Okay, so can I propose that this was just an informational, we weren't reviewing it tonight, which whatever it's in the agenda, we were chatting about it. We were talking about it.
Okay.
And then can you bump that up? I don't know what your game plan is, Laura, but can we bump that meeting room higher in your game plan of things to review? Because now it's fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
you know, it'd be great if the next one could come like in January, February, or whatever, and get that work done. So I'm cool with that, that this was not a review. This was a informational, look at this, here's what it's like. And by the way, it really doesn't need to be a standalone policy. Okay, I'm good now. Thank you.
All right, that's good. So any notation then for this page? Or leave it as it was presented and will be included in the next round of reviews for your meeting room?
Yes, and that the minutes
Okay.
should show we didn't review it. We
Right,
discussed
it was
it.
discussed it, yes, okay,
So that word doesn't get taken to mean
yeah,
in an official
yeah,
review.
that'll be good. Discussed only, okay,
And much happy. Thank you very much for hearing me out and explaining, Laura.
yeah, so those fine lines. Okay, so now we're moving on to item 8 for director's reports. Laura, okay, you're up.
Thank you. I will try to make this brief because I know we're going long tonight. So I wanted to let you know a few things going on at the library. Our 6th annual kindness project is underway. This is inspired by the book Wonder. Our kindness project is a way for the library to help those in need by collecting donations of hygiene products. And we partner with the West Hartford Food Pantry and Ford Street Universalist Church Backpack Program to distribute the donations. This year, the Mayor's Youth Council is participating in the project as one of their 4 impact projects to work on. We've already received a tremendous outpouring from the community. We're so grateful for everyone's generosity. And our co-chairs, Carol Waxman and Bailey Berardino, were recently interviewed by a reporter from Channel 3. And during the interview, they were representing the Liberty Bank Surprise Squad. And they showed up with a bag of hygiene products and a gift card for $100 that they presented to Carol and Daly. So it was really generous, and I will send out a link to the video for you to see after the meeting. Our Celebrate All of Us program initiative is going very well. As part of the initiative, we offered a program for families on November 8th. There was no school during Election Day, and we partnered with the First Church. It was held in their auditorium. The Thunderbird American Indian Dancers, whose mission is to preserve the culture and traditions of American Indian people, presented a program of dance and storytelling to an audience of all ages. Funding from this program was generously provided by the West Hartford Library Foundation and the Ellen Jean Goldfarb Memorial Charitable Trust. Our Celebrate Committee has been working on planning programs to celebrate cultures around the world to continue this initiative, and we have several great programs to come in the new year. Our next one is on January 22nd. We'll have a musical journey through many countries with Judy Handler and Mark Levesky. They perform their own inspiring arrangements on guitars and mandolin and will include music from the US, Spain, France, Italy, Hungary, Brazil, Latin America, and more. I'm happy to share I've had the opportunity to meet with a few more community groups on my ongoing quest to get to know more about the communities in West Hartford. I was invited to speak at a meeting of the Human Rights Commission. I talked about our progress with the new Library and Community Center feasibility study. And the group had a lot of really great and thoughtful questions about the project and the community's involvement. They were particularly mindful that we consider the people who don't have either the time or the ability to come to the community meetings or participate. Like, as much as we're trying to do the outreach, there's some people that just can't attend the meetings or they don't have the time to give the feedback, but they are taking advantage of these services. And so we need to make sure that we're finding ways to connect with them, and we're designing a facility that is meeting their needs too. I was also able to attend the Building Connections Book Club at Faxon. This is a group that meets every Wednesday, and they're made up of people from so many different cultures and backgrounds, and they come together. English is their second language. They pick a book to work on, to read and discuss. They practice their English, and they also just make these wonderful connections with each other. They spoke about the value of the friends they've made in this group and how much they look forward to their book club, and it was really inspiring to be with them. I really enjoyed that meeting. And I wanted to congratulate a few of our staff members who were selected by the town's Employee Recognition Committee for their, it was Alan Phillips and Pramod Pradhan, for their work on Facts and Fun this summer. So it was an honor for them to be recognized by their peers in the town. And so I'm going to wrap up with that, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And you know how to find me if you think of any later. Oh, Eileen, I think you're muted.
Now I am. No, I'm not. I was getting noisy here, so, no, not usually. Thank you, Laura. Looks like I'm going to be able to adjourn unless there's anything else that anyone wants to present or talk about. All right, that's a resounding no. So may I have a motion to adjourn? Anyone? Jill? Oh, Natalia? Okay,
Motion to adjourn the meeting. Natalia
very
Manning.
good. May I have a second? Gail?
Yep, motion approved.
Thank
Seconded.
you. All right. So I look forward to seeing you during the next month or so. Jill, and then roll call voting, please. May I have a show of hands? I've got 3, that's good, and Kim?
Kim Cohen, library board member, approve.
Very nice quorum. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you during the next 30 to 45 days. You never know. And if not, I hope you all have a good holiday season and appreciate everyone's involvement. This year went quicker than I thought it would, and we're just on a good roll. So thank you, Deb, for being here and seeing how we operate and everything that everyone's involved in. It's just something else. So very, very good to see. Okay. Anyone else want to say anything? Any parting words? Okay. Take it easy, everyone. I'll see you around town.
Yeah.
Have a
Okay.
wonderful
Thank
holiday
you.
season. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
Thank you.
holidays. Thank you, Deb.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brett.
All righty. Get out of this. All right, Grace. Leave the